Okay, so in previous lecture, what we did is that we understood how to initialize the React in your local machine, okay, on your laptops. Then we understood how like we can do that in two ways, either with the CRA method, which means this create React app method, and other is the wheat by using the wheat, okay, which is a bundler that will provide you uh, initializing method for many different frameworks and the libraries. So we initialize wheat and then we choose React. We will going to see that again. And then we understood कि भाई what is JSX. So JSX is the syntax of the React that we write React, and the transpilers and the transpilers means that the JSX whatever the JSX we will write, it will translate that code into HTML, CSS, sorry, HTML and JS, and then so that our browsers can understand. So what are transpilers we use? We use the Babel transpiler, and then we understood कि भाई we can write our React application in two components using either using functional or the class components. So we understood like what is the basic syntax of defining an functional or the class components. Today we are just going to this will not take much time, but I just want to show you how you will create a basic homepage using the navbar, like about the navbar hero and about football. Like we will define all these components and then we will like I will not use the CSS. Okay, so it's just the I'm just showing you how you can start creating the React applications in terms of the UI. Okay, so we will not waste much time. It's just I'm showing you how you can start using React. Okay, and then we will move on to the more important parts of the React. Okay, okay, let's start. So let me go to my VS Code, and we are in week 6. So what I will do, I will create here a new folder and write it as basic React app. Yeah. If anyone like if you have any doubts, you can just open your mics and you can start speaking. Okay. So I will do that from the starting only, from initializing and all those things. So start. The first step is to initialize the React project. So I can we can either we can do them with the CRA method or with the wheat. So I am going to do wheat. You should also do that with the wheat because CRA method is now old. No one initializes their new project using CRA. They also like we always do with the app, with the wheat or the any other like the methods of the initialization React. So how did we do that? We do something like npm create, then we use wheat, and then we use at the latest. Okay, and press enter. So it will start. So it will ask your project name. Use dot like is if you do not want to name your project, if you want your root name to be your project's name, then just use the dot. And if you want something else, so you can just write something else here. Okay, so I'm using the dot that will identify your root basic project name as the project name only. Root project name as the root project name only. Okay, I will press enter, and it will I will press enter again. Then as I told you that it will now give you different frameworks or now all the other things. Okay, so now here I am going to choose the React here. Okay, so choose click on like with the arrows key you can go down to React and press enter. Then again we have the options of writing React either in TypeScript or the JavaScript, but we are going to do that with the JavaScript. So I will do with the JavaScript, and then it initializes the empty React project. So yesterday I told you कि भाई it first initialize the empty React project without the node modules. ठीक है, ठीक है, because when we did that with the CRA method, it is doing with that with the what with the node modules, but it is very fast. So it says कि भैया first I will install the React as a basic dependency, and then I will download all the other dependencies in the package or JSON. So what we have to do now, it is also telling you right here that you have to write npm I. So npm install. As soon as I will write it, what it will do, it will go to package.json and it will see कि भाई okay, all these dependencies are in the package.json file. So I have to install all these dependencies in my node modules plus whatever the React will use in building like in creating application. Also those dependencies I have to install in my node modules. So if you do npm I install, click on enter. Okay, so it will start installing the node dependencies, all the dependencies in your node modules, and then as you can see node modules came. Okay, As simple as that. Then then we can now run our applications. Okay, now we can run our applications. So what we have to do now, we have to do npm run dev. Why dev? Because dev is one script in our in our package.json. So you can go in package.json, and we can see bhai, ki dev is one dependency, and whenever we write npm run dev, so this particular script, it will run. Okay, this particular script, it will run. Okay, so I will do npm run dev. I will press enter, and it will start my application. So within a second it started my applications. Okay, click on this application, and it will show your application. Okay, okay, it is working now. Now let's do the basic thing about the. So to remove all your, just go to the app.jsx, which is your root part. Okay, remove this all and do the RAFCE. How did I do this? RA, and you will get the options. So you will get to create a functional component here. So you will choose the second one, RAFCE, the export one. Okay, and press enter. How I am getting this, all the suggestions? You have to install the React React ES7 React ES7 plus extension that will help you to give all the suggestions. Okay, I summarize that. Then remove the CSS part. You don't want any. These were the CSS that the page you were seeing now. So it was all like this all written CSS was for that. Okay, okay. Now we can go back and check. Yeah, app is coming now. Okay. So what we know now, कि भाई just create a simple using functional component. It should contain component. It should contain the component snap bar, hero, about me, and a footbar. Okay. So yeah, I'm like, for me it will going to take time to style all those things, but I'm just going to show you how to create a folder structure, how to import that, how to export that, how to use it in app.jsx. But like we will not do the styling because of course that will take a lot of time. Like you can, I will tell you how to style those also, but yeah, let's start doing. Okay, so let me open my this. Okay, so now we have, let me open my whiteboard so that I can explain you something. Okay, so see, um, this there is one root component that is known as the app.jsx. Okay, app.jsx. This particular like whatever the code we will write in this particular app.jsx, and this particular file is rendered in the index.jsx. Index.jsx. Okay, so this is like a tree. Okay, now whatever the files we will create inside, like below, like whatever the files we will create below this. Okay, like this is one file, this is one, this will be one component, this will be one component. But at the end of the day, we have to call all our components into this app.jsx. Okay, so that why? Because this particular app.jsx is being rendered on our on our particular like index.jsx will render this app.jsx on the browsers. Okay? This is the main thing behind. That is why in the code you can see, if you go to the main.jsx, it is showing you by that I will render this app dot component. Okay? So this is the app component that is this here. That is why you are showing the you are seeing here the app thing. Okay? As simple as that. So how the photo structure will look like? Okay, let's have it. Let me tell you that. Okay, let's start it. So we have something known as the SRC. In this SRC, we have app.jsx, and the main.jsx. Okay. Now we will create a folder known as the components. Okay. Another folder we will going to create is known as the styles. Okay. And another folder that we are going to create is, this is how you will always going to folder your, like structure your folder whenever you are initializing a React application. This is not important, but I'm just telling you so that like there is a code readability कि भाई if someone else will read your code, then he or she should understand कि भाई all the components are in this folder, and there is one folder known as the pages. ठीक है, this will contain the pages. ठीक है. Now we are going to create a page which is the home page. ठीक है, which is the like the home page you see. ठीक है, of the websites. When you go first, you see the home page. That particular home page will contain the components. ठीक है, like a nav bar, then the hero section, then the about me section, and then the footer at the end. So these are the components. ठीक है, these are the nav bar, hero, about me, and the foot bar. ठीक है, these are the components. So we are going to create components uh, in the components folder. ठीक है, and then we will call all these component. Then we are going to create one component in the home page. ठीक है, like sorry, in the pages known as the home page. Home page dot jsx. I am just showing you the how folder structure will look like, how you have to structure your folder whenever you are creating an application, how you have to think all those things. Okay, so your pages will contain the home page dot jsx. Okay, as simple as, and your components will contain navbar dot jsx, footbar dot jsx, hero, and the about me. Okay, as simple as that. And you will going to call all these component in the home page, okay, in the home page. And this particular home page you are going to call in the what, in the app.jsx. Okay, in the app.jsx. Understood what I am trying to say? That you have to create a page. This is how we should do. You can create anything. Okay, you can name these you can name these whatever you want. Okay, you don't have to create these folders, styles, components. Okay, you don't have to create these folders. You can just create a one folder, and you can just create all these files in one folder, and you can call them in app.jsx. That thing will also work. But I'm trying from the starting only so that you will get the thinking how to create all those things. Okay. So in components, we will create components. In pages, we are going to create the pages, and that particular page will contain will call the all components, and this particular page is being called by the add.jsx, so that we can show this particular page. Okay. This is how, and all the stylings will contain the stylings of all these particular all these particular at the like all these particular the components. Okay, that are navbar.css, footbar.css, hero.css, all those things. Okay, so uh, understand the folder structure, how we are going to structure our folder. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, so let's do that thing quickly because I don't want to waste time like in this thing also, because this is the basic thing. So let's start. Okay, so in this, in the src, see, everything you have to do in the src. Don't do anything out the src, because src is the main folder that will going to build your particular application. Okay, so we will create a new folder here known as the components, then the another folder as the pages, and then the another folder as the styles. Okay, so I will not add the styles, but I will tell you how to do all those things. Okay, so in in pages I have to create now a component. Okay, in a component, home page, homepage dot jsx. So now the how to name our folders. There are two things that you have to remember. That in order to name your folders, you have to use always the chemical case. Okay, chemical case means कि भाई the, if you are like home page is a word that contains the two words like the home and the page. So the home H should be capital of the home, and the page should be capital, like the P of the page should be capital. Okay, so this is the camel. This particular thing we call as the camel case. Okay, so your particular component name should be in either in camel case, or if there is a one word, then the first letter of that particular one word is should be capital. Okay, this is the rule, this is the rule, ठीक है. Don't do that in the small, ठीक है. And the second thing uh, is the particular extension. So like this is the having the .jsx, okay. So .jsx is the .js for the JS files, and we are creating a JSX. We are going to write the JSX, so we do write the .jsx, okay. As simple as that. If you write JS also, it will work. It will work, but it always, like, we should always write JSX. Why? Because while transpiling our code, transpiler will understand कि भाई ठीक है, this is JSX code. I have to convert this in JSX. But if you write JS will also work. So it like it's something like it will. It's not that it won't work, but that particular thing will also work if you write .js. But we are going to write .jsx. Okay, so we are doing this in functional components, ठीक है. We are not doing it in class components. I will tell you later कि how to do all those things in class components, but we are doing this in functional components. How to create that? You can do this RA and FCE, ठीक है. Now let's understand what is this particular. The first thing it is doing is import React from React, ठीक है. So that the transpiler, the compiler will understand कि भाई whatever the thing you are writing here, it is in React. It is in React. Okay, and we will see other functionalities of this particular that we are going to use in this particular code, that we are like the states and all those things, like the hooks and all those things. Don't worry about them, but we are going to create. So they uses the React. They uses the React. That is why we are importing the React from the first thing we are going to we do is the React. We import the React. If I remove this, it will work. Okay, it will work. But later when we are going to write other functionalities, when we are going to manipulate this particular component, then we need some other functionalities in this thing. So for that we need React. Okay, we need React. Then this is the JSX part. As simple as that. This is the JSX part. Okay, we understood it yesterday. Then this component is saying कि भैया I am exporting this particular JSX part. So this simply means कि भैया I am exporting it, export default homepage. So I'm exporting it this particular component so that we can import it anywhere else and we can use that component. As simple as that. So these are the cheese three main things that we have to remember. Okay, the first thing is why we are using this, so that we can use so that the transpiler will understand that this is a React file. Plus, we are going to use some functionalities later in this particular code that need React. Okay, and the other thing is that कि भाई this is a simple functional component that returns HTML, so like the JSX part. And this particular thing we always have to do because we want to export this component so that we can import or use this particular component into other files also. Okay, so we don't have to write it from the beginning. You can just do RAFCE and we can do this. Okay, as simple as that. ठीक है. This is the home page. ठीक है, as simple as that. Now you have to go in app.jsx. ठीक है. So right now we are having the app here. ठीक है, app is coming here. ठीक है. Now I show you कि भैया we want to show home page here. We want to show home page here. How will we do that? Come here in the app.jsx and you have to write something import import what why we're using import ki bhaiya if we want to use other components in our app.jsx, then we have to import it first, right? So we are using the import, and you will write home page. So as I write ho, it started giving me suggestions ki bhai you have created some home page component in this particular folder, do you want to import it? So I will press enter. Okay, so it will start like this particular suggestion is being given by the that extension only that we have downloaded. Okay, so now we have imported the home page here. Now in order to use this particular thing, what you have to do is you have to use this you have to write, like, whenever you want to use any other component in like other components, then you do something like home page and this is the syntax. This is the syntax that you are using this particular component in this particular app component. Okay, now if I go back to my app, you will see the home page here. Why? Because this particular app component has the home page component in it, and home page has the home page written here. Okay, if I change this to this is the home page. Okay, this will change. This is the home page. Okay, That is how we use the import and the, like, this is how we use the components, this is how we can reuse them. So if I want to, if I create another file and I want to use that, this particular component in uh, another component, so I can just reuse it. Okay, so I don't have to rewrite it again. Okay, I just have to import this particular thing in that particular file, and I can use this. This is what we were talking about, the reusability, UI components, reusability, as simple as that. Okay, so first thing we have done. Now in components we have to create the three files: navbar, navbar.jsx, jsx, and the another file is the hero.jsx, and the new file about, and the last file was the footbar. Okay, so we create the four files, four components here. Okay, this will work as the component. Okay, so first component is the navbar.jsx. Navbar, let me change this to, now it is correct, navbar. So again you will do with the race, so it will create this. Okay, so like the whatever the file name you will give here, it will take that. Okay, it will take that, so you don't have to worry in naming these. That is why I was telling you कि भाई you should name all these using the camel case or the capital case. Okay, because these particular this particular function should always have the capital letter, or the, or these things should be in capital case or in the in the camel case. Okay, okay, so like if you write it in small, like it won't work. Okay, as simple as that. So we create a nav bar in this hero. We have to again just create the hero. Okay, race, let's create this in class component. Okay, let's create this in class component. I think I don't know whether it will work or not, but let's see. Okay, so this is now in class component, as simple as that. Okay, what I did was I did something like rc should give me suggestions ki react class component. So I did this and it gave me a class component. So we have created the four components. Okay, and styles you can okay, let's first import that in home page. Okay, so I have told you कि भाई we have to like these are the in the components folder, but we have to import all these component into this home page. Okay, so in the home page we will first import all these. Import navbar, it will give you suggestions, so you have to just press enter. Import hero, import about me. Okay, about the last component was the import uh, footbar. Okay, so we have now the imported all these four components. Now how we are going to use that? We are going to use like we did in the app.jsx. Akshat, what is this? What is this you are doing this? Okay, so remember, whenever you are creating a component, we have to return only a one, like a one object. Okay, so like if I, why it is not taking it? Okay, it is working. Okay, so like I was telling कि भाई whenever you are returning it, you should always return, like this is your component, the navbar.jsx, like the home page. Sorry, this is your home page. It should always return one object only. One object only. Why? Because see, whenever you are building a DOM tree, na, like whenever like the React or the transpiler compiler will build a DOM tree of the JavaScript, so these will be inserted as as a single div tag. Okay, a single div tag that will contain all your code inside this particular div tag. Okay, that is why we always say कि भैया the whatever the components you are creating, that particular thing we should always return a single object. ठीक है, in this term object means कि भैया in a single tag, because it is crucial that whenever a DOM tree is building, or whenever we are converting this in JavaScript or the in HTML CSS, then it should be like, by this component will contain a lot of code, so it should be only a single div. Okay, it should be only a single div, so that it will work as a node. It will work as a node in a DOM tree, as a single DOM tree. Okay, as simple as that. Then this particular DOM will contain multiple DOMs. Okay, so we don't have to worry about all those things. Why? Because React is doing that. It's just कि भाई React gave us something कि भैया you follow these particular rules, so that I can I can do all those particular difficult part that you used to do in the JavaScript. So that I can do that. So it says कि भैया you should always return in a single. So React gives us something like this कि भाई they are the empty tags. You can't see anything like a div tag or a h1 tag. They are the empty tags. So that whatever the things you will write, if they are like, if there is multiple div tags, okay? If there is first div tag and they are outside it, these are the two div tags. Okay? If I remove this, so it started giving me error, right? कि भाई JSX expression must have one parent element. ठीक है, as simple as that. That it should return the one parent element or the one object. So we have to write this in the, so it provided us something like these empty tags कि you write them and then it will solve your problems. ठीक है, so as simple as that. That is why you should always write, you should always do, you should always write this thing only first. Okay, so now we have to import that. So navbar, import the navbar, then the hero. Okay, after the navbar, hero will come, hero section will come. Okay, and then the about section will come, and then the footbar section will come. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, so these are not the tags, like this is the closing tag now, as you can see, but these are the uh, way of writing these, or the uh, components in your home page. Okay, on in your particular file, this is how we can write the components. Okay, as simple as that. So if I go back to my screen, you will see all those four components coming: navbar, hero, about, footbar. Okay, this is the simple basic application of the home page. Okay, this is the home page. Now, like how you will do the stylings in the styles. In the styles, what you can do is you can create something known as the navbar.css, navbar.css, and here you can write something like, now it is a simple like, how we used to style in HTML. In the same way, we will style this in the React only. So like if I want to style this navbar, yeah. So there is one thing that कि भाई uh, in HTML we used to write something known as the class. Okay, class, and then we used to give the particular name कि भाई whatever the name we will give, and then we will going to style it, as simple as that. But in React, as we know that class is already is a reserved keyword, so we use class name. Okay, class name, this particular class name, and this particular class name is we use in the React, because we can't use the class keyword. Okay, why? Because class is already reserved in the HTML, as simple as that. Now we can just give here any class, so I can give the navbar. Okay, as simple as that. And now if I go to my in my navbar.css, I will write something like nav. Now this is similar. Okay, this is similar. So color will be, okay, this is similar. Okay, now you have to do that with the dot, because we are using the class. But I have to import it also. Okay, I have to import it also. So how we going to do that? So we are going to do the import, then use double colons, and you use the two dots. Okay, so it will give you suggestions. It is not giving suggestions. Now it is giving suggestions. So now it is giving me suggestions. Two dots mean कि भैया you are now in this particular navbar. One dot will take you outside this component, and another dot will take you inside this component. ठीक है, as simple as that. Then two dots, here it will give you suggestions, assets. So we are in these styles, and then the file name. So it gave me a warning. Style navbar.css is not, why it is not working. Styles navbar.css.
Oh,
Yeah. Any doubt? Oh, sorry. Yeah. So the spelling, I am doing the spelling mistake. Now it is working. Okay. So I was doing the spelling mistake. Now if you can go back to your particular navbar, you are not seeing the dot navbar. This styling. Yeah. All here also. Okay. Why it is not working? Nav. Sorry. You just you just have to like nav bar. Okay, let me copy this and in the style, you paste this. Okay. I think it should pull. It will work. Yeah, it is now working. Okay, so as you can see, it is in styling. In the similar way, you can just style this whole thing. Okay, so background color, it will give you suggestions as that. Okay, so it will now whatever the homepage you see. Okay, whatever the homepage you will see, like it will start styling. So okay, so like this is the like the code rail page. If I show you and the website I have built. Okay, so this is what I built. Okay, this is the component. This is the nav bar. This is the hero section. Then this is the pricing section. This is about me section. This is the the query section, context section. Okay, this is what I built. I just use the styling and I just use the yeah. Okay. Okay, thank you. Spelling was the mistake. Yeah. So this is how we simply build. Okay, so you can use the styling. Later we are going to see कि भैया we are going to use the tailwind css for our styling. We are going to learn the tailwind css that will help you to that will say कि भैया don't create files, don't create files like this style netbar.css and all those files. You can write your styling in this particular class name here only. Okay, so we can write our whole styling in the class name here only with the sugar syntax. We will understand what is that, but later when we are going to start the tailwind css. But this is how you can traditionally write the css part. Okay, so we look all the three things. How we are going to components the components folder will have the components, pages folder will have the home page and the styles. Then we have to call all these component in the home page, and this particular home page will be called in our what app.jsx. Why? Because at the end app is going to be seen on your particular applications. Okay, as simple as that. As simple as that. Okay. Okay. Okay, understood this part. This is the basic application we built. Okay, and React, that is the home page. Don't worry about the styling. I will edit the code later and I will push that code to GitHub. So you can just copy the styling also. But the main part is to tell you that how it is working. Any doubts in that? Okay, so go and create something. Today and create something like a simple basic with the help of components. Just do not repeat yourself. Is the what is the formula? Is the principle that you have to follow. You do not repeat yourself. That is why we are creating the components so that we can reuse them. As simple as that. Okay, as simple as that. Let's move on to the second part, and it is the most important part. Let me yeah, don't let me do. Okay, so we don't. Okay, state and the props are the like the heart. They are the heart of a React JS application. Okay, let's understand what is that. When we talk about the manipulating our particular, so we used to do with the help of the with the JavaScript. That when we used to do. Okay, but भैया whatever the things we have done now, we have just seen कि भैया how we are going to create the UI. ठीक है, when we see the application, when we see the definition of React, what it says, React is a JavaScript library that will help to create the UI components. The first thing we have did is that we created the UI components and we started uh, we started building the UI. But now, in order to bring interactivity to our particular those components, कि भैया what will happen if someone clicks on the button and all those things, then we have to bring the states and the props. Okay, then we have to bring the states and the props. State, let's understand state, you will get a clear idea. State is like the mood or the condition of your component. Okay, state is like the mood of the condition of your component. It can change over time based on what you do. Okay, state is the type of thing like a mood in simple language is a mood or a condition of your component. It can change over time based on what you do. Let's understand with the example and you will get the clear idea of what I am saying. Okay, state is the, ठीक है, everyone knows state. When they will create a react application na, they will know how to use state, they will know how to initialize the state, they will know all the things. But whenever you will ask me कि यार तू बना दो, you are developing a react application but tell me what is state, so they will start like they will go in the confusion कि भाई यार ये पता तो है हमें, आता तो है स्टेट होती क्या है, बट वी डोंट नो द एक्चुअल मीनिंग ऑफ स्टेट. ठीक है, दैट इज द सेम प्रॉब्लम व्हेन द इंटरव्यूअर आस्क्ड मी कि भाई कि यू वर टेलिंग अबाउट द स्टेट्स हाउ वी कैन मैनिपुलेट देम, बट जस्ट टेल मी कि व्हाट इज स्टेट. ठीक है, so this is the thing we are going to understand because this is very very important. ठीक है, imagine this particular uncle. ठीक है, this particular uncle is a component. ठीक है, is your component. The current salary of the uncle is 40,000. Is 40,000. ठीक है, as simple as this. Imagine this uncle as a component. uh, ठीक है, the current salary of the uncle is a 40,000. State in this particular component is the salary in this case. ठीक है, so we defined a particular state which is the salary, ठीक है, of this particular component which is the uncle, and the current salary of the uncle is 40,000. So which means we define a particular state. In this, state is a technical term, but here the salary is the state that I am telling you of this particular uncle component. ठीक है, component mood is sad. Component mood is sad. ठीक है, as simple as that. He talked in his office about the salary that he is getting better, he is getting better offers, as simple as that. ठीक है, so he talked in his in his office that he is getting better offers, and then either he will resign or you give them the better offers. ठीक है, you give them the better salary. Now he did something in his office. ठीक है, he did something in his office. He talked to his CEO or the HR department or whatever the salary department. He talked to that particular department, finance department. Then they increased their salary to 80,000. The salary of the uncle is 80,000. State here is also salary. Now the state is the salary, but in this particular thing it is changed. It is changed. Now the component mood is happy. So previous it was sad because the salary of the uncle was 40,000. He did something. So he did something in that particular situation. He did something like he talked to his office or he asked them to increase their salary. So he did something, and now his salary is 80,000, which means the state which was previous 40,000 is now 80,000, which means the state is changed. The state is changed, and now the component is changed. As simple as that. Now the component is changed, which means the mood is happy now. Okay, this is the basic example of state. So state is like the mood or the condition of your component. It changes over time based on what you do. Okay, this is the in terms of like a normal language. Okay, now in terms of like what we can say is it like a very ठीक है, in terms of technical terms we are going to see that what does that mean. But for now just remember that state is like a is like we define state. So in this particular thing the component has a state 40,000. We did something to that particular thing. Uncle did something and it changes to 80,000. Okay, so in technical terms what we are doing is we are creating a state. We are creating the state in this component, then we are doing something in this component, and then we have changed the state of this particular component, and we have changed the mood of the component also. Okay, so now previously it was sad and now it is happy. Okay, that is now this is a generic this is in a simple language that what I am telling you, but we will cover that in technical terms by how to create state. So like two things that is happening here is that we are creating a state. Okay, we are creating a state here, then we are giving some value to that state. So the state is salary and the value is 40,000. Then we are doing something to that particular state. Okay, now here he is doing something to that particular state. Now the updated state is 80,000. Okay, and the component is also updated. Okay, this is how we are going to manipulate our component in the terms of a state. Okay, so whenever we want to manipulate our component, we need a state. ठीक है, we need a state, and through that state we are going to use or we are going to manipulate that we are going to bring some changes. Okay, this is a very simple example. Whenever you get the confusion, you just come to this, can come to this slide and just understand this what I am telling you. So okay, this is the generic definition. This is like a basic definition. State is like a variable. State is used to store the information that can change. Think of it as a variable that React keeps a track of. This is the technical definition of the state. Okay? State is nothing. It's just a variable. Just we used to like create a constant in a constant is equal to 10, or constant name is equal to string. In the same way, state is just like that. Okay, just a variable, but we are going to change that state time to time. Okay, with the help of some functionalities that we are going to look, okay, later in this lecture. But we are going to update that time to time. Okay, but state is like a variable. Whenever the interviewer will ask you, "Why, what is the state?" The first definition that the only thing that you will say to the interviewer is, "State is like a variable used to store information that can change, and the React keeps the track of." Okay, as simple as that. So I think yeah, the next part is the only the state. Okay, so we did the theory part of this state. Okay, any doubts in this you can ask me, because this is very important. State are the very important. You can open your mics and you can just ask me, or you can write in chats. Okay. And Naveen, you can write in chat if you are not feeling to open your mic. Can we move forward? Okay, okay, okay. I'm too much emphasizing on state because it is very very important. Everything you are going to do in the React is a state only, on state only. Okay, okay. The next important thing is the props. Okay, so we talked about the state. By this is a simple variable that we will define in our component, and that will help us to change our component, or we are going to manipulate the component using the states. Okay, as simple as that. Now props. What is props? When you pass the states to the child component, they are called as the props. As simple as that, no difference. Okay? The same state, when you pass that in child component, it is going to be known as a props. Okay? So imagine this is your parent component. Okay? This is like your, in this case, what is the parent component? A parent component is app.jsx. Okay? So imagine we here defined a state. Okay, and now this is the parent component. What is the child component? Child component is home page. Okay, as we know कि भाई we are calling this home page in the app. So child component is this home page. So we are now passing this home page into the passing this state, whatever the state we have created, into this home page. Okay, so home page. So whatever the states we are getting, whatever the state we are getting from the parent component will known as the prop in this child component. Okay, as simple as that. So we will going to look. Don't worry, I'm just telling you the theory part so that we can cover theory and then we can start implementing all those things. So we'll tell you how to create a state, how to manipulate that, and how to pass, how to like pass them to child components. We're going to do all those things. Okay, but for that, just understand the state we are going to pass into the child components are known as the props. So here we will, whatever the state we are using here in this particular home page component, that is coming from the parent component, is now working as a props. Okay, as simple as that. This is the particular diagram I will show you. By parent component, it has the states, and the child component, when we pass this particular state to child component, it is now known as the props. So props are just the uh, arguments. So we will see how it works, but props are just the uh, props are just the arguments that you pass to a components as a, like, props are the states. Sorry, as you can see, as you can tell ki bhai, props are the arguments that you pass to the child components. Okay, the state which is defined in the parent component, whenever you want to pass that similar thing into child component, you can pass them as props. So they are known as the props, just the change in name, nothing else. Why I have written immutable here? That we can change the state in parent component, okay, but we can't be change the state or the props in the child components. Why? Because it is defined in the parent component. We can't manipulate those state in the child component. Why? Because we are defining them in the state, so we can manipulate them in the state of in the parent component only, but we can't manipulate in the child component. Okay, so that is why I have written the immutable here. This is a very important interview question, ki whether state are the immutable or the props are the immutable. So you will tell them ki bhai the props are the immutable. Then they will ask you why state are not the immutable, why props are the immutable. So you will tell the whole thing. Then that ki bhai props you are passed with child components and the state all those things. Okay, as simple as that. Okay. So okay, we have done the theory part here and about the set and props and the props. Okay. So any doubts still here? Set and props clear because they are the very important parts. So we can move, just write yes quickly so we can move forward. And if you have any doubts, you can just ask me. Yeah, okay. So now comes the part of ki, when I was telling you na ki how we are going to initialize something, like how we are going to initialize a state, how we are going to manipulate the state, how we are going to pass these states and all those things na. Now comes the part of a practical thing. Okay, hooks in the React. We've done the states in the React, props in the React, hooks in the React. Hooks are the special functions in React that allow you to use state and other React features in the functional components. In the functional components, which means कि hooks are something, they are the special functions that we are going to use, already defined functions, okay, that we're going to use, that allows us to use the state, मतलब whatever the state we will create or whatever the things we will do, that will allow us to create the state, okay, but they will give us additional features only in the functional components. Okay, so just remember this for now, but now we are going to go back again to the class components. Okay, why we need hooks, we will come that later, but now let's go to the class components. So we have 10 minutes, yeah, we can cover that in 10 minutes only. Previously, before, so hooks were introduced in the functional components, like when the functional components came na in 2016-17, so they introduced hooks in that part only. Okay, just for understand, they are the special functions. Okay, previously, before React introduced hooks in version this, developers use the class component to manage their state and the lifecycle methods. What are these lifecycle methods? We are going to see. But the first thing is class component to manage the state. To manage the state. As simple as that. So one thing you get to know is that bhaiya, hooks are the something that we are going to use to manage our state, to create our state, or to manipulate that state. Okay? But in the that, but they were only for the functional components. So before that, we used to do something in the class component. Traditionally, we don't have the hooks in the class components, so we used to build the state and lifecycle methods, but this were the thing that were in the class component that will help us to manipulate that particular state. Okay, lifecycle methods, let's understand this. Constructor. Okay, so this is the code. We will, let me create a file here also so that we can. So new folder, class, yeah, class. Okay, so like we have to do the all the things again and again. So we'll just latest. Okay, npm create with latest project name. Let's name this is React JavaScript npmi. So npmi is same as the npm install. Okay, let's go back to the, so key, like it will install that in that meantime. So constructor, we will write constructor into this class component that will initializes the state, that will help us to initializes the state. First thing is that will help us to initializes the state. Component did mount is an another function that runs after the component is first rendered. Component did update runs after the component updates whenever the set of the props changes. Component will update unmount runs just before the component is removed from the DOM. Don't worry about all those things. Just focus on the first part, and when we will create the state. Okay? Constructor is help us to initialize the state in the class components. Okay? In the class components. Let's come back. Wait, yeah, it has done. So React class. I will just npm from dev and close this also. From tomorrow onwards, I will have the empty React projects so that we don't have to do that thing again and again in the class. So, yeah, let's remove it from here for now. Okay, so now it is now nothing is coming because why the React app.jsx is the empty. Okay, so let's write the class component. Constructor initializes the state. Okay, now let's start initializing the state part. So okay, this is the class component, and so we can add this rc. So they will, this is the class component. Okay, as you can see here, they have a render method which is known as this particular method, and they return the JSX to be rendered. So they are returning the JSX part. Okay, in functional components we do not have something like the rendered or the extends class component or something as known as this. So the state is managed within the class using this dot set. So let's create all those things. Now it says ki bhaiya, we can initialize using the constructor. Let's see ki how we can initialize a state in the class components. This is what we something right. So every functions or every logical that we are, every business logic that we are going to do is above the render. Okay, like above the render, and the UI part comes below the render. Okay, as simple as any functional components, what are the things we used to write to show, to show the user, we are going to write the HTML in the return method. Okay, and uh, like uh, like the upward, like the in before that we are going to write all the business logic or whatever things we have to like create function, all those things. So here we will create the constructor. So it will give us constructor, and here now we will define something known as this dot state. This dot state, it give me session also. Okay, so just install that particular extension also, that it will start giving me session. So we are creating a simple counter application that will count your, like, they a simple counter application that will keep the state, keep the counter, like the counter is zero, that we will click on increase counter, so that it will increase the counter, as simple as that. This dot state, this is how we are initializing a state in the React in the class component. This dot state. Now here we have to define the state. So we are defining a state count, and the default value is the zero. Okay. Again, whenever we want to initialize a state, we use something known as the constructor. Okay. Using this dot state. Don't ask me what is this. Like if you've done object oriented programming in Java or in the C++, then you should know this what is this, like what is this. Okay, but this is like a, how can I tell you, this is a very long topic, but for now, just whatever the referencing object we are creating right now, it will map to that particular object. So in this particular thing, we are creating a count object, a count variable. So whatever the things we will do this, but to this count object, it will reference this, will reference, or this dot state will reference to this count variable. Okay, if you don't understand this, don't worry, no, we are not going to use class components in our build while building applications. Okay, I'm just showing you because class components you should know how to create them, how they actually work. Okay, because you will not see in the YouTube. Okay, unless and until you will write the how to build application in class components. Okay, everyone is using functional components now. Okay, but okay, my job is to tell you everything. Okay, this dot state, this is how we initialize the state, and this is how we are initializing a simple count. Okay, next thing is the how we can manipulate this particular thing. So let me first do. Okay, so count this dot state dot count. If I go back to my, okay, app.j6, it is not showing. Why? P this dot state dot count. Okay, let's see what error it is giving me. Must call super array. Okay, okay, let's add a super here. Will it work now? Refresh this. Why it is not showing the zero here? Zero is coming. Sorry, yeah, yeah. Now zero is coming. Okay. So let me remove the CSS part so that it will come in the. I know the time is up. Just wait for 5 minutes also that we can just cover the class components, and we will start from the function components tomorrow. Okay. So now we are seeing the zero here. Okay. So whenever we want to show this particular state to our in our UI, this is what we have to do something. This dot state dot count. Okay. Now we want to build something. We want to increase this counter. So what I will do is this dot state dot count. This will show the counter, and below this I will create a button. Okay, I will create a button as simple as that, and I will click here on click, and on the like simple as the we all know this what is on click. Okay, on click will add a whatever the function we will write here, then we will write the function. So increment, I think this dot. So whatever thing we are going to do in the class component, we have to write this here. We have to write this here. Okay, for all those things. So increment dot inc. Okay, as simple as that. Now below above render, we are going to define our the increment function. Okay, so increment, and I am using the arrow function. So now what it will do, we are going to update this particular initialized state. So now the particular initialized state, we have count, and the particular default value is the zero. Okay, now we have defined something increase, and now I am going to write some logic that will manipulate this particular state. That will going to increase this its counter. Okay, so what we are going to write is that uh, I'm forgetting the syntax. What is the syntax? Let me see. Increase. Let me add up. Increase. Increase. Okay. So how we are going to do that with the increment this dot set state. Yeah. So this dot set state. Yeah. So this is the this dot set state, and it will contain this dot state. Sorry, the count. This dot state dot count plus one. Okay. This is how it. Yeah. This is now what we are going to do. What we are doing here. Why we initialize the state with the this dot state. Okay, but whenever we want to manipulate the state, we use something known as the set state. We use something known as the set state. This is the by default. Whenever you have to manipulate this particular thing, what we have to do is we have to do this using the set state. So this dot set state will increase the counter by one. Okay, so we have write the count, and we have write by whatever the previous counter was, which means that whatever the initial counter was the zero, we have to increase it by one. Okay, now if I click on increase, it will increase this counter by one. Okay, as simple as that. This is what I have done. Let's see whether it is working or not. So I will increase this. Now it is working. Okay, as simple as that. Now it is increasing. This is this is what I was telling you in this particular thing. Let's compare this particular component. What is the current state of this particular component? In this thing we have the zero. Okay, now we are doing something to manipulate this particular state, which was in this case ki bhai, in this case it was zero, and in this case it was the salary. So it talked as in his office, and what we are doing here, we are we are doing increment. In this case we are doing the increment. Now the salary is 80,000, which means कि भाई now if you see the state, it is 14, it is changed. ठीक है, it is changed. ठीक है, it is changed. And now the component mood is happy. So in this case, the component is also changed. Okay, the component is also changed. So here concepts, the 5 minutes are over, but we will cover that in deep tomorrow about the life cycle methods. So in this component na, like in these things you are seeing here कि भाई the component mood is happy. So what how I am saying this mood is happy, how am I defining the mood is happy? So I am defining this with the help of something known as the life cycle methods uh, that we will discuss them tomorrow. Within 5 minutes we will cover all those things. And okay, and then we will move to the functional components, as simple as that. Okay, by using all these life cycle methods we can check कि भाई whatever the what mood is current having of our component. Okay, whether it is whether it is happy or whether it is like sad, in the simple terms. But this is life cycle method will help us to do कि भाई they will tell us कि whether the component is rendered, whether the component is updated, or whether the component is being like unrendered, all those things. Okay, but for today we see something कि भाई how we can initialize a state by using constructor, and how we can manipulate this state by using set state keyword. Okay, these are the very important two things. And we also look the class components. Okay, any doubts you can ask me, and or you can leave. Any doubts you can ask me. Tomorrow, just for 10 minutes also, we are going to discuss about the class components, and then we will move कि भाई how all the same things we can do in the functional components as well. Okay, and then there we will discover something hooks. We will cover something hooks that replaces all these things कि भाई initializing a state or the life cycle methods, all these things will be replaced by the hooks that we will cover tomorrow. Okay guys, so like if you have any doubts you can just ask me. Okay, Baki, like if you want to run all these things by yourself, you can just go to this PPT, and you can copy the code from here and you can run that. Okay, as simple as that. Yeah, okay, okay. So guys, you can leave, and we will meet tomorrow.